Your silence is the most dangerous weapon in gay dating. If there's one thing I've learned about being a gay man in the modern dating world, it's this. Silence is not the absence of action, it's the most calculated move a man can make. And most of you are playing it wrong. You're not using silence as power, you're using it as permission to be ignored, overlooked, or emotionally walked on. You think staying quiet keeps things cool, keeps you unbothered. But what it actually does is hang a sign around your neck that says, "I'll take whatever crumbs you throw my way." And that's where they lose respect for you. Because in gay dating, silence gets misread fast. It doesn't say mystery, it screams submission. It doesn't say confidence, it reads insecurity. It doesn't say high value, it tells him you're too afraid to speak your value out loud. You think you're playing it safe by not texting first, by waiting for a signal, by pretending you don't care. But here's the brutal truth. The men who get what they want are the ones who risk breaking the silence first and know exactly why they're doing it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to turn your silence into a weapon that cuts through bullshit and commands respect. I still remember sitting in a bar when I saw him. Black denim, a worn leather jacket, nursing a whiskey neat like he was in no rush to be anywhere. His eyes skimmed the room without trying too hard, and for half a second they met mine. I didn't smile, he didn't either. Just that electric moment of tension between two men who knew damn well what they were looking at and what they were about to ignore. He glanced away first, which you'd think would mean I'd won. But the longer I sat there pretending not to care, the clearer it became. I hadn't won anything. I was paralyzed by a lie I didn't even know I'd swallowed. Play it cool, don't be too eager, make him chase. But here's the psychology you don't want to face. When you default to silence, when your strategy is to wait, withhold, or disappear, you're not being strategic, you're being scared. And fear, no matter how good you dress it up, stinks. Let's break this down. You think your silence keeps the upper hand. You imagine him pacing his apartment, wondering why you haven't replied. You fantasize that he's rereading your last message, trying to decode your tone. That's not what's happening. What's happening is this. He's logging onto Grindr. He's refreshing his DMs. He's moving on, because your silence doesn't communicate mystery. It communicates indecision, lack of intent, emotional avoidance. It makes you replaceable. Because here's the brutal market truth no one wants to say out loud. The guy who risks being misunderstood by showing up honestly, even imperfectly, always wins over the guy who hides behind the illusion of being hard to get. So you sit in silence, hoping he'll see your value. But you forget that value isn't seen, it's shown. And the silence you're using to look chill is actually the silence of a man who doesn't trust his own worth. Ask yourself this. When you don't speak, when you don't reach out, when you don't say what you feel, who are you protecting? Because it sure as hell isn't your self-respect. You're trying to avoid being rejected. You're trying not to look too much. You're terrified that your desire will make you weak in his eyes. But here's what happens instead. You disappear from his radar. You fade into the background. You become just another guy in a sea of ghosted DMs and vague small talk. Forgettable. And in dating, being forgettable is worse than being rejected. So what's the fix? Not some performative vulnerability, not some fake, let's talk about our feelings script. No, you fix this by learning to speak before you're ready, to act before you're comfortable, to value your words so much that silence becomes a conscious choice, not a fear-based default. Because real silence, the powerful kind, isn't absence, it's presence without apology. It's the look that says, I'm not chasing you, but I'm also not hiding. It's the pause that says, I know what I want, and I'm waiting to see if you can meet me there. It's the stillness that comes after you've laid your truth bare, not before you ever had the courage to. But most of you never get there. Because your silence isn't earned. It's not the silence of a grounded man, it's the silence of a boy still hoping to be chosen. And the more you sit in that quiet, the more you convince yourself it's strategy. But deep down, you know it's surrender. You convince yourself, if he really liked me, he'd reach out. But what you're actually saying is, I don't trust myself to handle being ignored. That's the real fear, Not being ghosted, but being exposed as someone who cared more than he did. And that kind of vulnerability scares the shit out of most gay men because we were trained to equate desire with shame. Wanting too much, shameful. Being emotionally forward, shameful. Looking needy, the ultimate sin. So we play it cool. We fall into silence, we lie by omission and call it standards, and we wonder why nothing real ever lands. Until one day, you realize you've been performing a role for so long, you forgot how to even say what you want out loud. You've edited yourself down to the kind of man who's always unbothered, but never actually seen. And that's the most dangerous silence of all, the kind that convinces you it's better to be invisible than vulnerable. So let me ask you something. What are you not saying right now that could change everything? Because your silence might feel safe, but it's costing you connection. And no amount of chill is going to fill the hollow space where your truth should be. You think he pulled away because you were too available, too emotional, too interested. But what if the truth is uglier? What if he pulled away because you weren't real? Because you never showed up? You waited. You watched. You measured. You drafted 100 unsent texts, stared at his profile, replayed his words, and in all that overthinking, you never actually gave him you. He never rejected you, he rejected your performance. Because here's the dark truth about gay dating that nobody tells you. Men are bullshit detectors, fast ones. He knows when you're holding back. He knows when you're smiling but terrified, flirting but withholding, present but not really in it. And he knows when you're not speaking, not because you're cool, but because you're scared he won't like what comes out. So what does he do? He walks. Or worse, he keeps you as a placeholder. Someone to fill the silence between his real connections. Someone to validate him, just enough, until he meets someone with the guts to say what they feel without flinching. That guy becomes unforgettable, because silence, real powerful silence, only works after you've made noise. Let that land for a second. The silence that commands respect comes after you've spoken your truth. It follows truth like thunder follows lightning. It's not passive. It's not a test. It's not a trap. It's a boundary, not a wall. But most gay men, we use silence as a shield before we've done the work. We go quiet and hope to be noticed. We detach and hope to be chased. We mute ourselves and hope our absence creates desire. It doesn't. It creates confusion, then resentment, then apathy. And now you're just another guy he's telling his friends about. Yeah, he seemed cool, but I couldn't get a read on him, so I moved on. You disappeared in the fog of your own fear. Let me ask you, when you were younger, what happened the first time you spoke your truth? Did someone call you dramatic? Did someone punish you with silence? Did someone shame you for wanting affection? Because somewhere along the way, you learned that opening your mouth equals losing love, that asking for clarity means you're weak, that the best way to win is to be unfazed, numb, quiet. That lie has infected your dating life. You're afraid of words now. You're afraid of being too much, so you become nothing. You're afraid of being rejected, so you self-abandon. You're afraid of being laughed at, so you keep your love like a secret no one's earned. And in doing so, you repel the very thing you crave most, to be known. Because a man can't connect with a mask, he can't desire your armor, he can't feel pulled towards silence that was never backed by presence. Here's what makes silence magnetic. It must follow vulnerability. Silence, and let me be brutally honest with you, most of you are so scared of being too loud, too gay, too soft, too needy, too real, that you delete yourself from the conversation before it even starts. You silence your own voice, and then wonder why no one listens. So here's your choice. Keep playing the mute, keep being chill, keep praying he'll fill in the blanks for you. Or start saying what you actually want, clearly, calmly, with zero shame. Because a man who can speak his truth, look another man in the eye, and not flinch, that man is rare. That man gets remembered. That man doesn't need silence to be respected. His words do the work for him. And if he doesn't text back, if he ghosts you, if he disappears, then good. Now you know. That's the beauty of honest words. They force clarity, they leave no room for ambiguity, and they weed out anyone too scared to meet you where you are. But as long as your default is silence, you never get to that moment. You stay in limbo, you stay safe, and you stay lonely. Stop thinking your silence protects your heart. It doesn't. It just keeps you invisible. Let me paint you a scene. You're lying in bed. The room is dark except for the pale glow of your phone screen. It's been 3 hours since he posted a story, 5 hours since your last message was seen, and 8 hours since your gut started whispering. He's gone cold. You scroll back through the chat, reread the last sentence you sent. Was it too much? Too eager? Too honest? You convince yourself, if I go silent, he'll realize I'm not chasing. If I wait long enough, he'll come back wondering where I went. If I say nothing, I still have control. But deep down, you know that's a lie. A dead, hollow lie, wrapped in a blanket of pride. Because silence without power is not control, it's paralysis. And here's the dark twist. He's not thinking about you. Not because you weren't enough, but because you never gave him anything to truly see you. You never took the chance to say what mattered. You just waited, faded, withheld. You became a ghost in your own damn story. The truth is, every time you go silent out of fear, you abandon the most vital part of yourself, the part that wants, that risks, that shows up even when it's inconvenient. And let's stop sugarcoating this. Silence is often the most manipulative move you can make in dating. It's emotional blackmail disguised as detachment. You hope the void will do the work your voice was too scared to carry. But men don't fall for silence. They fall for presence. They fall for certainty. They fall for the guy who isn't afraid to be clear, even if it costs him the connection. You want real power. Say this: I want to see you again. I felt something real, and I'm not going to pretend I didn't. If you're not feeling it, I'd rather know than be strung along. You think that makes you weak? No, that makes you bulletproof, because now the ball is in his court. And no matter what he does next, you're not the one hiding. That's the kind of silence that follows your truth. That's when silence becomes a sharp, clean blade, not a dull ache in your chest. But you won't get there until you stop waiting for someone to read your mind. You're not being noble by keeping quiet, you're being a coward. Yes, I said it. You are being a coward every time you swallow the words you need to say, because you're scared he won't like them. Every time you pretend to be cool instead of clear. Every time you use silence to protect an ego you built on sand. And guess what? Even if he does chase you after that silence, what have you really won? You've taught him that he has to guess to keep your attention, that he has to work through your absence to earn your love, that you're more interested in being desired than in being known. That's not love, that's a power trip. You want connection? Start with presence. You want respect? Speak your truth without flinching. You want intimacy? Risk being seen. And if he walks away after that, then you won. You didn't lose him. You lost the illusion that you had to perform to be wanted. Here's the thing no one tells gay men. The real ones, the grounded, masculine, emotionally secure men, don't want silence. They want to feel your intent. They want a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to say it. They want clarity. They want energy. They want fucking honesty. And yeah, you might get burned. You might say how you feel and hear, sorry, I'm not there. But you won't waste months in emotional limbo. You won't wonder. You won't play guessing games. You'll walk away clean, clear, unapologetic, because nothing haunts a man more than the words he never said. And the most dangerous thing about silence, it convinces you that you have time, that there will always be another chance, another moment, another reason to say it later. But later never comes. And the silence that was supposed to save you ends up burying you. You keep telling yourself you're playing the long game, that holding back is strategic, that the guy you're seeing just needs space or will come around if I don't pressure him. That silence is patience. that it's poise, that it's dignity. Bullshit. That's not patience. That's self-abandonment. You're not holding space. You're filling the silence with fantasies. You're not giving him time. You're giving him permission to forget you. You're not letting things breathe. You're suffocating your own truth, hoping he'll read your mind and say exactly what you wanted to hear all along. Let me ask you, what exactly are you waiting for? Are you waiting for him to see your value without you ever having the balls to show it? Are you waiting for him to chase you without knowing if you're even worth chasing? Are you waiting for the universe to do the heavy lifting while you sit in emotional neutral and pretend you're chill? Men who are truly attractive in this world, who are rare, magnetic, unforgettable, don't wait. They move, they risk, they speak, and their silence, it's earned. It's powerful because it follows something real. It's what they do after they've made their position clear, not instead of it. You want to know why your dating life is stuck in circles? Because you're stuck in avoidance. You avoid stating your standards because you don't want to be too much. You avoid texting first because you think that means he's won. You avoid being vulnerable because you don't want to give away power. Let me tell you something, and this might hurt. If your idea of power is emotional distance, you're already weak. You've built your entire self-image on the idea that less is more, that being silent, aloof, unreadable, will somehow magnetize the right man. But the truth is, the right man walks the fuck away when he feels nothing coming from you. You think being unreadable is sexy, but unreadable isn't sexy. It's exhausting. And no real man, no man of integrity, no man of depth, is going to chase a fog. He's not here to solve the puzzle of your silence. He's not here to decode the passive-aggressive likes on his story. He's not here to fight his way through the armor you refuse to put down. Because here's what he knows, that if you can't even show up emotionally in the beginning when it's easy, then you damn sure won't show up when it's hard. And that kills attraction faster than anything. Not your flaws, not your vulnerability, not even your baggage. What kills attraction is a man who refuses to show himself and then acts surprised when no one sees him. Do you want to be respected? Stop acting like you're disposable. Speak like a man who knows he adds value. Look him in the eye and say, "This is what I want. Are you on the same page?" Send the message you're scared to send, not to get a reaction, but to end the game. Because silence is for the insecure when it becomes a mask, but silence is for the powerful when it becomes a mirror that says, "I've spoken, I've shown up, and now I wait, not because I'm scared, but because I've done my part." Anything less than that, you're not being powerful, you're being passive, and passivity is the killer of all connection. Listen, I get it. You've been burned, you've been ghosted, you've worn your heart on your sleeve before, and it cost you. Maybe he made you feel like a fool. Maybe you still think about the one who said, "But you survived that." And your scars don't mean silence is the answer. Your scars mean you've got nothing left to prove. You don't need to be liked to speak your truth. You don't need to be safe to be seen. And you sure as hell don't need to wait in silence to be chosen. Because here's what makes a man unforgettable. Not his looks, not his charm, not even his success. It's his ability to show up with clarity and zero apology. So you've got a choice. You can keep hoping your silence will do the work of your courage, or you can use your voice and let the chips fall. And if you're still thinking, "But what if I lose him?" then here's your final truth. You don't lose a man by being honest. You only lose the ones who were never strong enough to meet you there in the first place.